Okay, we are back up and running. First thing I would do is say that I declare that we went into closed session and we dealt with only the items indicated in my comment prior to going into closed session. We have council a recommendation before us now. I'm going to ask for a mover and seconder in a second, but it's that we receive report PDR CW-1322 from regarding the planning department, and that we fund the staffing changes recommended therein to the tune of 106,854, and that those funds come from either savings or from surplus. I need a mover and seconder to put the item moved by Councillor Milne, second by Councillor Woodbury. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none. All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. Thank you very much. We're on to item number 9 right now. We're dealing with other business. Is there any other business? Deputy Warden McQueen.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Just observing or my observation of today's meeting were a lot of people that are remote or is on that side. I just find it on this side, it's hard to see. I don't know if I'm, and I know you have one that you have this, you keep the minutes. I don't know if there's any way if this moves forward, is there? Well, I'm not switching. I just wonder if you, I just raised that. It's harder to see when that's not side. That's all. I don't know. I don't want to speak to my colleagues here, but if there's people on there, it's a little harder, but it's not the end of the world, but.
Thank you. Point well taken. Yeah, point well taken. I see Olivia nodding her head, and the clerk has indicated that they'll look into that. Any other business? Oh, Councillor Soever. Sorry, you're muted, sir.
Keep forgetting that. Just wanted to update council on a couple of things. Councillor Sampson and I did attend the legislative committee studying Bill 109, and we presented some comments on primarily around the lack of having inclusionary zoning away from major transit centers, which of course we don't have any in the rural areas, and so that does impede our ability. And also the general comments on the lack of attainable housing and some of the difficulties that I just mentioned before with the penalties that are going to be invoked on municipalities that don't give their planning approvals in time, particularly because a lot of the planning approvals rely on comments from provincial agencies like the MTO in particular, in terms of traffic and whatnot, and those have been a major impediment. So there was that, and also we continued dialogue with the Ministry of Infrastructure on the ASIP program. We heard over a month and a half ago that one proponent, at least for our block here, had been turned down. So obviously that meant that some proponents had been selected. Also heard more recently that we will be hearing who the successful proponents are sometime in the future. And one of the things that's come up there, which is very onerous on our local internet providers, is that all of the changes that are happening under the Connecting Ontario Act, they only apply, like the access to road allowances, the timeframes for locates, all of those things only apply to projects that are partly publicly funded. So basically, your large companies that win these ASIP blocks will be working with one set of rules which make their life easier, and small local rural providers, they don't have the same advantages. So that's something else we're taking up with the ministry, because it's created what is not at all a level playing field, because all of the provisions of those acts are, and it's hard to notice that at first, but when you start looking into what is a designated project is one that is funded all in part by the public. So if a small provider was trying to do a small neighborhood all on his own, he wouldn't have the same advantages on access to rural areas, locates, everything else than a large multinational, maybe that is doing the larger block. So just wanted to advise council of those things. They're very troubling. Clearly, it's creating a very unbalanced playing field. Thank you very much, Mr. Warden.
Thank you, Councillor Soever. Is there any other business? And we move to any notices of motion, item 11. Do we have any notices of motion? Wonderful. We're now going to entertain a motion to adjourn. How about Councillor Thomas and Councillor Little online? Would you be willing? Excellent. All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. Thank you very much, folks. Have a good day.